Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Kiss My A's. Today I've been asked to provide another example of audience engagement using something similar to the open loop method that I discussed in my video on how to write a speech. So what have I found for you? This week I'm going to tell you all about the plant and payoff method. This is predominantly used in screenwriting, but it also translates rather neatly into social posts and advertising as well. So I'm going to tell you what it is, why it works so well, give you a couple of examples, and then how to use it. So without further ado, here we go, the plant and payoff technique. Now this is very similar to the open loop method in that you are planting an initial seed with your reader or audience and then tempting them through to the end where you are giving them a really tasty payoff. This comes in two flavors. You can get emotional payoff and intellectual payoff. Now I'm going to use screenwriting as an example of this. So emotional payoff, let's think back to perhaps Titanic. You are told that there is an excavation mission to retrieve the Heart of the Ocean necklace. It's incredibly valuable. We find out that Rose has this necklace. Throughout the film, the necklace keeps on popping up. You're wondering to yourself, what is the damn deal with this necklace, besides the monetary value placed on it at the beginning of the film? Gradually, they build up more and more an emotional connection with this necklace. At the end, you finally discover why it's so goddamn important, and then, spoiler alert, Rose throws that thing into the ocean. At the end, you finally connected all the dots, you get it, that emotional flood is there, you burst into tears, cut to credits, cut to Academy Award win. Now, intellectual payoff works on a similar system, only this time you are trying to work something out as you go, and at the end you're provided with the answer. So let's perhaps take the new Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express. You are presented with a crime scene at the beginning of the film, you are seeded with clues throughout the narrative, and at the end you are given the answer to who done it. Throughout the entire film you are using those clues, you are trying to figure out exactly what's gone on, and at the end you are rewarded. It makes you feel awesome, makes you feel clever. So what's the science behind this? Why does it work so well? Studies have shown that as you're trying to work something out or make a mental connection, your brain is constantly firing dopamine. This is very addictive. It keeps you hooked. It keeps you locked in. You want to figure it out. You just can't help it. It's how we're hardwired. At the end, when you get that really tasty little payoff, you get a flush of serotonin, and this feels effing good. When a brand makes you feel good, you have an emotional connection to them, and when you're emotionally connected to somebody, you're going to keep coming back again and again and again. It increases loyalty as well as delivering that engagement that you want so hard from your content. So how does this work in a real-time setting? Because obviously you guys are not typically writing scripts for films. So you can use the plant and payoff method for teaser ad campaigns. Now, I've seen this work particularly well for cult brands. They rely heavily on social media for their advertising. What they will do is they will seed a couple of images, they'll put a little bit of tasty copy on there, kind of really tantalize people, and what you tend to find is that their audiences go bananas for it. They will go out, they will do their research, they will try and find the answer. What is it they're going to release? How can I get it? The brand doesn't even have to do any work, really. The customer is actually doing all of the investigative work. They want to know what that is. A recent example of this is one of my favourite brands. They're a cult makeup brand called Lime Crime. I'll see if I can drop an image in of it. But they embarked upon a social campaign to launch a new set of colour palettes, and what they did is base the product on a Polly Pocket. So they know their typical target customer is a very retro, kooky girl. They spent a lot of time seeding in social campaigns retro toys. Now this is a very great way to generate that nostalgia, that emotional feeling. Customers were wondering why they keep putting up the same imagery, what's the gig behind this. They knew something was up. Lo and behold, they released their new colour palettes, styled like a Polly Pocket Compact. Genius. I can tell you another really good example of this. It was used in screenwriting in an ad way back in the day for Yellow Pages, and it was the J.R. Hartley ad. I'm sure you remember it if you're old like I am. Opening scene, old dude on the phone, he's calling up every bookshop in his town. He just wants to get his hands on a copy of Fly Fishing by J.R. Hartley. Nobody has it. He's getting a little bit sad. You're sat there wondering, why the heck does this guy want that book so bad? It sounds dire. At the end, it's revealed that he, in fact, is J.R. Hartley, and he just wants a copy of his own book. Bam! Emotional payoff, hits you right in the feels. Let's think about it like this. What they're advertising is essentially just a book of names and numbers. There's nothing emotional about that. It's pretty bog standard. Pretty boring. So the fact that they had you hooked in from the beginning and they kept seeding it through and you were like, what is this? It's a book. It's a book about numbers, you guys, but they made you feel something, and that is why Plant and Payoff is so good. So there you have it. It's a pretty interesting technique if you can try and use it. It does work really well, especially if you're using it for intellectual or emotional engagement. Cult brands especially, you can really milk this thing, let me tell you. I've seen it. It's good. It worked. Even worked on me, and I knew exactly what was happening. If you have any questions for me, please drop me a comment below and I will answer it either in a reply or in next week's video, or you can call me out on Twitter at EJ Cownley and I will answer your questions for you there. Thanks very much. Until next week, take care.